Welcome to the show, everybody. My name is Mark Farzetta. This is the Farzy Show, presented by MyBookie, mybookie.ag. Just lovely to have you along for the ride, especially when the Phillies snap. They're historically, I can't be sure of it. I haven't checked the Elias Sports Bureau or anything like that, but I think this is the longest losing streak the Phillies ever had, 3 games. The history of the Phillies, at least that's what it felt like anyway, when they were playing such great baseball, and then they lost 2 series in a row. They lose 3 games in a row. Bryce Harper goes 0 for 10, 0 for 13 before he got the RBI single late in this game yesterday. Nick Castellanos broke out of something yesterday. That was great to see. Cristopher Sanchez, dominant on the hill for the Phillies. Kyle Schwarber hitting Schwabomb yesterday. Nick Castellanos going deep as well. It was a really nice win. And the Phillies, it was also nice to see them get, I don't know, best way to describe it, up in arms, pissed off, little rattled, if you will, in a positive way. Anytime you see fastballs being buzzed by the chin of your MVP player in Bryce Harper, it's going to make you a little upset, especially if this is a guy who's already been hit in the hand. Blake Snell, thanks so much. This is a guy that's already been hit in the face in his career. Yeah, you kind of want to defend that guy. And I have really no doubt that Kyle Harrison was trying to at least get the attention of Bryce Harper. Why? I don't know. But when you look at the pitch chart, now, as you can tell, our amazing graphics department put this together. Above the red line is what pissed off Harper, and then below the red line is after Harper was pissed off. That's what that red line of demarcation demarks. Anyway, he goes high and tight one time. Harper's like, okay, I don't like that, but all right. Then he goes away. All right, fine. That's not that unusual. You set him up on the outside pitch. He fouls it away. Okay, fine. And then he goes up and in again. That's the one that Harper snapped his head back and looked at Kyle Harrison, yesterday's starting pitcher for the San Francisco Giants, and he goes, hey, get it over the plate. Hey, keep it over the plate. So that happened. And then the very next pitch goes up and in a little bit more. I have zero doubt that at least that third pitch was Kyle Harrison trying to go, hey, you tell me what to do. And the other thing is, I've seen pitchers a lot of times. If there's a questionable, up and in pitch, inside, whatever, pitchers will be like, no. Like, I wasn't doing that, wasn't going inside, whatever the case may be, wasn't doing that on purpose. A classic example, and I remember Randy Johnson once hit a guy in the head, and then Randy Johnson ran to the plate to, make sure the guy was okay. Like, that's the most exaggerated case of it happening. But when it comes to this particular instance yesterday, I have no doubt Harrison, at least on that pitch, that got everybody out, on the field, benches clearing, bullpen guys doing the trot next to each other, and guys that are supposed to fight in a second, they're just going to run next to him for a while. That always cracks me up. And they go out there, and everyone's just up in arms. Everyone's just a little pissed off. Everyone's a little on edge. I also don't think that it helped anything. Now, the official ruling on the play was that Bryce Harper was originally ruled that he was hit by the pitch. Crew chief review. He was not hit by the pitch. We all know by now it hit off the nub of his bat. So he then goes up there and finishes the at-bat. But nothing doing as far as the rest of that fourth inning went. So that was a little interesting. But I have no doubt at least the pitch that caused it wasn't a melee. It wasn't a scrum. All it was benches clearing and guys being pissed off. No ejections like that. I don't think there's going to be any fines or anything like that. Maybe Pat Burrell. Pat Burrell's getting a little handsy. Which was not the first time somebody said that. Pat Burrell was getting aggressive. I will say that. Maybe a little bit of fine there to the San Francisco Giants hitting coach. But as far as this whole instance went, I have zero doubt that at least that last pitch that buzzed Harper. And again, you look at the rest of the pitches after this. One was down over the middle of the plate. The other was far. It was away. And then the other was right over the middle of the plate. I have no doubt that at least that third pitch was buzzing Harper. Now, you can make the argument that there were a couple of pitches. Garrett Stubbs took one that was up and in earlier in that inning. I think Edmundo Sosa took one that was actually up and away, which is the same spot, being that he's a left-handed hitter, or right-handed hitter, it would have it would have been inside to a left-handed hitter like Harper and Stubbs. So you can make an argument that he had a little bit of a control problem in that inning. But when you do it in 3 of 4 pitches and one is more exaggerated than the last, you're not going to, as my Uncle George used to say, you ain't fooling me none. You ain't fooling me none. So, yeah, I don't believe for a second that he wasn't, at least on that pitch, trying to send a message. And the Phillies responded perfectly. I mean, they had control of the game for the most part. Nick Castellanos, well, first off, Kyle Schwarber came up and delivered the home run, his 11th of the season. I looked at it yesterday. Kyle Schwarber is only on pace for 20. Going into yesterday, Kyle Schwarber is only on pace for 29 home runs this season. Maybe he's up to 31 now. I don't know. But the Phillies were led by Kyle Schwarber's first inning leadoff home run, which was great to see that from him. 381 feet on a 1-2 pitch, a fastball that he got, and he just belted opposite field, which is rare for Kyle Schwarber. 1-0 lead right out of the gate. Then Christian Pache, how about this? Again, the guys at the bottom of the order helping this team out. Christian Pache comes up. 2 outs in the top of the second inning. He delivers after back-to-back leadoff singles by Nick Castellanos and Bryson Stott. You get Christian Pache coming up to the plate, and he gets the RBI single there with 2 outs, which is nice to see. Then after that, you go into the 4th inning there. That's where the melee happens. Bench is clear. Harper ended up grounding out to shortstop to end that inning. 5th inning, you got Alec Boehm to lead off with a double. Good to see him make good contact again. Nick Castellanos steps up. That's when he hit the 2-run home run on a 1-1 changeup. That was away, a 1-1 changeup. He was able to wrap the barrel of the bat around the old the plate, and he belts it out of the ballpark just barely. You would have thought, by the way, Nick Castellanos reacted to the contact, that the ball would have been 450 feet, like out of Oracle, excuse me. It barely made it out, but it made it out for his 7th home run of the season off the mid of Ramos. I wasn't sure if Ramos carried the ball out of the park, like deflected it out of the park or what, but either way, it's 2-run home run. His 7th of the season. It goes from a 2-0 game to a 4-0 game. Then you go into the 8th inning. Whit Merrifield leads off with a walk. Great to see him just on base in general. Then you get Stubbs working a walk. Pache strikes out. Schwarber gets his 2nd RBI of the game with an RBI single to center field, makes it a 5-0 game. And then Bryce Harper gets in on the action with an RBI single to left to make it a 6-0 game. That would do it for the Phillies offense. And then Whit Merrifield, Spencer Turnbull comes in the 9th inning, and he allows a run. So Phil's shutout effort, unfortunately, was done after that. Spencer Turnbull, definitely not comfortable as a bullpen arm. Definitely not comfortable. You know who is comfortable? A guy named Cristopher Sanchez. That's who's comfortable. Cristopher Sanchez went out there yesterday and was wonderful. The only time he ran into a little bit of trouble, he was able to get out of it. And I think it was that 3rd inning. He gets out of the inning with a 3-pitch strikeout, but in the 3rd inning, he gets 2 outs right out of the gate. Then Wisely steps up and gets a single. Estrada gets a single. Then he walks Chapman. So all of a sudden, 2 quick outs. And Cristopher Sanchez has the bases loaded. I was worried for a second there, and this has been my criticism, if you will, of Cristopher Sanchez recently. And he goes from the mop-up bullpen guy looking like that, like, oh, yeah, it's the 10-0 lead. Yeah, put in Cristopher Sanchez. No. All right. He looks like that for a little bit, and then he sets into Sandy Koufax, okay? In this particular instance, or Steve Carlton, whatever. In this particular instance, he gets the first 2 outs, and then he loads the bases. So it's like, okay, where the hell is this coming from? And then 3 pitches. 3 pitches. He strikes out strikes out Flores on 3 pitches to get out of that 2-out jam with the bases loaded. There was really no other threat other than that for Cristopher Sanchez in this game yesterday. The cutter was working great. The changeup was working great. He got 7 strikeouts in total in this game. You look at the 2nd inning. Flores leads off with a single. He strikes out Soler looking at a changeup. Soler was dumbfounded. Had no idea what Cristopher Sanchez just threw. Whatever it was, he was guessing maybe 3 other things. Anyway, he's dumbfounded on that. Ramos ends up striking out as well on a changeup, and then he gets Fitzgerald to strike out on a cutter. Working great in that inning. When he got Flores to strike out on the 3 pitches in the 3rd inning to get out of that bases-loaded jam, He struck him out on 3 pitches. Great to see that as well. You fast forward to the 4th inning. Soler, he strikes him out on a changeup again. Soler just not getting it. Then he gets Matos to strike out, looking at a sinker on a 3-pitch at bat in the 5th inning, going into the 6th inning, and he just cruised right through that 6th inning. And what was really good about that 6th inning as well, aside from just Cristopher Sanchez, Alec Boehm, Mr. I'm not going to take 1,000 ground balls for no reason, made a great defensive play for the second out of the inning on Flores, who grounded out. Boehm had to go deep into foul territory to collect himself, fire to first, and get the second out of the inning. Great to see a good defensive play there by Alec Boehm at third base. But all in all, Phillies get 14 hits yesterday. 5 Phillies record at least 2 hits in the game. And of all people, they're led by Nick Castellanos. Who was saying Nick Castellanos needed that? What big fat idiot was saying, oh, my goodness, great. Yeah, you need to give Nick Castellanos a day off there, Rob Thompson. What idiot was saying that? I don't remember either. It was me. I'm sorry. There's one thing with Rob Thompson. And if you caught the postcast yesterday, you heard this already, but I got to tell you this again. There are some things Rob Thompson does that I just don't like. There's some things that I have a lot of questions about. The one I keep going back to is the Taijuan Walker decision. Taijuan Walker coming off the IL, he's been a little bit more cautious with guys coming off the IL, but he keeps giving Taijuan Walker, he kept giving Taijuan Walker when he initially came off the IL that extra inning of work. Like, let's see how he goes into the 7th inning here. And then he gets shelled. I don't like it. Not giving Nick Castellanos a day off has puzzled me. And if you're Nick Castellanos or you're any player that might be struggling under Rob Thompson, I think everyone wants that vote of confidence. So it didn't work out in the game that Rob Thompson did it, but I think it worked out yesterday. So Rob Thompson, instead of giving Nick Castellanos a day off, he gives Alec Boehm a day off. Alec Boehm sits out after the 2-error game, the 4 misplay game, 2-error game there by Alec Boehm. He elevates Nick Castellanos, who has been struggling at the plate, to the cleanup hitter. He elevates him to the 4 spot. I didn't like that, as we talked about yesterday as well. I believe the exact words out of my mouth were, I'd rather have Garrett Stubbs as the cleanup hitter than Nick Castellanos. Hey, Stubbs had 2 hits yesterday, baby. So, hey, I'm not all wrong there. Anyway, Nick Castellanos goes up there, bats in the cleanup spot. He gets a hit. Not huge, but he gets a hit. Yesterday, he gets 3 hits, including his 7th home run of the season. If you're playing for Rob Thompson, in particular, if you're Nick Castellanos, you have to greatly appreciate your manager saying, we're not going to panic. We're not going to give you a day off. We're not going to do something that we think is only going to highlight the idea of you struggling. We're going to do something that, we're going to depend on you even more because we think you're capable of helping this team more. So you're going to be a cleanup hitter. In that game, 1 hit. All right, it's not everything, but it's something. In the next game, 3 hits. So now he's got 4 hits in his last 2 games. That's a nice little stretch. Small, very small sample size. But if you're trying to get a guy going, Rob Thompson's taking the other effect of, all right, maybe it's not the day off. Maybe it's a vote of confidence that he needs. And I've said this before. Although his numbers and his inconsistency can be extremely frustrating when you look at Nick Castellanos, although that can be frustrating, the thing that I do like about Nick Castellanos is his mental approach to the game. And I'm not talking about Scooby-Doo. I'm not talking about a guy that just always seems like he's on another planet. Listening to him after yesterday's game, he said something that really hit me. And what he said was, when he does go through his struggles, he wants to show the younger guys on this team how you deal with those struggles, which is you never lose confidence and you just keep on going up there and you keep on hacking. You keep on doing your thing. And we talk about Bryce Harper a lot as a leader. We talked about Rhys Hoskins as a leader. We've talked about, obviously, a guy like Kyle Schwarber as a leader. I always reference the story that Dave Dombrowski brought up 2 years ago, right before the Phillies went to the World Series. In that game against the Astros, Dave Dombrowski was in the booth with T-Mac, and he said that Kyle Schwarber is the most respected player he's seen in a clubhouse since Darren Dalton, when Dombrowski traded for Dutch to join the 97 Marlins and help them win a World Series. So we've talked about those players as leaders. You know who we don't talk about? Nick Castellanos. And Nick Castellanos, on more than one occasion, in post-game interviews and all that, has talked about really helping young guys develop. Because one of the things I try not to forget is that Nick Castellanos was a hotshot prospect with the Detroit Tigers. I remember when the Phillies were bringing up Maikel Franco, and Nick Castellanos was coming up and establishing himself as a big league ball player. Was a third baseman, was playing in the outfield as well. And there was a lot of pressure on Nick Castellanos coming up through the Tigers organization. And it didn't work out all that well originally there in Detroit, and things fell by the wayside, and he was able to bounce back and his career back on track, and certainly was able to do that last year. And now a two-time All-Star, one with the Reds, one here with the Phillies. That's great. But there's been a lot of up and downs, a lot of ebbs and flows of Nick Castellanos' career. He did it with Bryson Stott, talking about allowing Bryson Stott to just go out there and play every single day like Bryson Stott did 3 years ago. And Bryson Stott obviously has developed, and he had 2 hits for himself yesterday as well. Great to see him get off the schneid as well. But when it comes to Nick Castellanos in particular, he is very cautious about young guys on this team and making sure that those guys develop. And that, to me, is a leader. Is he the poster child for leader? Is he maybe number 3 or number 4 on this list? Probably. Not high up there. But when it comes to being a veteran on this team that does have young players that need to develop, he is very much aware of how he carries himself and how that might affect the younger players on this team. That I respect, that I appreciate. And I love that he brought it up after the game. And he is so not the typical, I don't know if the typical Philly guy is changing or not. Like, we always want guys to hustle. We always want guys to give their best. And no matter what your status is on the team, no matter what your bank account says, we always want you to bust it down the first baseline and all that stuff. Nick Castellanos doesn't give you that feel. Like, we want the guys that are just going to, no questions asked, run into that fire. Nick Castellanos, I feel, is going to have questions. Okay? When I listen to him speak, whether it is the Scooby-Doo thing or whatever it is, and T-Back did ask him a question yesterday about, how do you bottle this up and carry it back to South Philly? And Nick Castellanos, who doesn't suffer questions he doesn't like, says, well, you don't. you don't bottle it up. You just go out there and you keep playing. If you got to go through a 162-game season, I guess that's got to be part of your mindset as well. And that's definitely the mindset of Nick Castellanos. Well, how do you bottle up and continue the success that you guys had to? You don't. You just keep playing. We should hit a gong every time Nick Castellanos drops his words of wisdom. As far as the melee, guys being pissed off, here's Rob Thompson talking about what happened with the Bryce Harper incident in the fourth inning.
I think our guys just were a little bit upset that came up and in a couple of times on Harper. And it looked worse than it was because the helmet flipped off and that's when it broke. And it looked like, from our vantage point, that he got hit there. So I think everybody kind of got bent out of shape a little bit, but everything calmed down.
From your perspective, did it look like a pitcher just struggling with command?
That's all it is. He's not throwing anybody. No way.
Harper looked like also he was a little kind of frustrated in the first, both in the field and after the at-bat. Obviously, the ejection on Friday has been kind of an emotional trip for the team at large, but especially him.
Yeah, I think so. And he's an emotional guy because he wants to do well, and he wants to perform for the fans and for his teammates. And when he doesn't, he gets emotional.
Harper is a Philly guy. Harper definitely a Philly guy. Talking about passion, talking about getting pissed off. It's definitely the classic Philly guy type attitude, and I'm here for it. I appreciate it. The Braves, by the way, they took an L last night. They lost to the Washington Nationals 7-2. That's a shame. That means the Phillies are back to 6 games. Excuse me, 6 games ahead of the Braves in the NL East. 12.5 games over the Nationals. 16 over the Mets. I saw Pete Alonso. Well, first off, Edwin Diaz. He's on the IL now. Shoulder issue. Pete Alonso took one off the hand yesterday. I don't know if he left the game after that or not. But that happened. And the Marlins, wow. Mets and Marlins. Wah, wah. That's a rough one. Phillies still, despite their historic 3-game losing streak, the Phillies are still the best team in baseball. Best record in baseball. I'm here for it. I'm here for it every step of the way. A couple more things. Yesterday's game, just some notes on it. Sir Anthony Dominguez had a 1-2-3 8th inning. Good to see that. Soto gave up a leadoff walk on 6 pitches to Ramos. Then he got the double play from Fitzgerald. Got Casale to fly out to center field. So a good inning there by Soto. And then Spencer Turnbull, unfortunately, with a 6-0 lead, made it a 6-1 game by struggling again in a relief appearance. I don't know if the bullpen is I'm not saying trade Spencer Turnbull immediately for somebody because I like to I love having that insurance policy in the rotation. And if Taijuan Walker struggles again, maybe for the sake of continuous winning, you have Spencer Turnbull return to the rotation. $70 million, though, kind of makes it a lock that Taijuan Walker is your starting pitcher. You're not going to trade him in the midst of struggles. We'll get back to the Phillies in a second here, but I look over the chat for a second. I see Daz. First thing, Mason Miller. Yeah. There's a friend of the show I have to agree with on this. Michael Kasky-Blomain, who's been on the show, Sixers writer, to talk about the Sixers for a second here. We were talking a lot yesterday about Jimmy Butler and all that stuff. If Jimmy Butler was here, I think I'd talk myself into the Sixers actually making a decent run next year at being a top 3 seed again, top 2 seed again, possibly even a number 1 seed. But the biggest thing that I keep going back to with Jimmy Butler is obviously the age plays into it, 35 years old. The miles, the way he's played, that plays into it. The bottom line is you're talking about a guy who over the last, 5 seasons, has barely played over 60 games. So late in the season, I know we talk about playoff Jimmy. Playoff Jimmy's great. Playoff Jimmy's amazing. Playoff Jimmy helps you. But if playoff Jimmy's not there to be playoff Jimmy, then that kind of gets you upset. And the Sixers already have a guy who I love in Joel Embiid. I really do. And I love Jimmy Butler. But can both those players be relied upon to help this team win in the playoffs, health-wise? Is Jimmy Butler going to get stronger and more healthy at 35 as the season goes on? As an 82-game NBA season goes on, or in his case, Joel Embiid's case, maybe 60 games? A 65-game NBA season? Are we going to be talking about 2 guys whose workload we have to manage? That's my overall concern. So I saw Michael Kasky-Blomain put this out, and this is more in the school that I'm thinking. Like, for me, I'm all about running it back with the Sixers with Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid. And it's similar to what Daryl Morey said at the end of the year, which was those are your number 1 and your number 2. And they want to get a number 3. They want to get a big 3. They want to get that third guy. But for me, you have talent in your starting 5. What I need in those 2 of your 5 right there. For me, what I would love to see this, and I think you have talent if you re-sign Kelly Oubre. I think you have talent coming off the bench if you have Nico Batum. For me, this is all about building depth. I think you need a bevy of really good players as opposed to one great player. That's where I see it. Let the game be decided by Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey. Let the guys that are going to be in there to be those glue guys, those helpers, if you will, let them come in and help. But $224 million for Paul George over 4 years is scary. $118 million or $13 million for 2 years of Jimmy Butler is still a little scary. Not as scary, but scary. And he's a 35-year-old Jimmy Butler. Scary. So the name OG Anunoby has come up. And Michael Kasky-Blomain, amongst others, have talked about the Sixers having interest there and whether or not they could bring in a guy that helped put you out of the playoffs last year with the Knicks. Those types of acquisitions to me are better deals. Those types of acquisitions to me, where you clearly have a guy that is going to be a very good player, and yes, it's not going to be cheap, but you're clearly going to have a very good player. You're not getting someone that's striving, or at least has the expectation to be 1,000,000% great. Paul George comes here, and the expectation is, oh, well, you're spending that money for that player, then he better be healthy, he better be ready to go, you better be ready for an Eastern Conference Finals and an NBA championship. Like, that's the expectation. And don't get me wrong, I'd love to have that expectation. I just don't think that expectation is real. I don't know if Paul George is going to last. When you come into a contract year, when you're eligible for that max money, and you already saw Kawhi Leonard get his, now you want yours. It does something to a player. Like, it makes him have the best 3-point percentage in his career. Has him play 70-plus games again. Has him play at that high level, that motivation. What happens when that motivation is gone? That's what I question. There's questions all over the place. But for me, the more sure bet is making the really good acquisitions as opposed to the great headline-grabbing acquisitions. And I don't know if I've just been along for the ride too many times already, especially with the James Harden situation, the overhype of what Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid could do and all that. Jimmy Butler being here and it not working out. Even later that year when they added Tobias Harris and Boban Marjanovic in the quadruple doink year. Oh, the expectations are all great. They're there. And then coming short. Like, I'd rather go into a season with the lowest possible expectations. That's kind of how I feel about this. I don't even want to say upcoming. We haven't played the finals yet, but the upcoming season next year. That's how I kind of want the Sixers to approach it. The bigger name guys actually make me a little wary. And the idea of locking yourself into that deal for 4 years with Paul George. 2 years of Jimmy Butler seems to make a little bit more sense to me. Talk about talking yourself into something. If Jimmy Butler's here, I could talk myself into being optimistic. If Paul George is here, I could talk myself into being optimistic. But from the objective point of view, the bird's eye view, the more I look at it, the more I just want these guys to add really good players and fill out the roster that way. And let the guys that are going to decide whether or not you're going to win or lose games be Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid. Get as close to sure things as you can get as far as guys being consistently good and consistently healthy. So that when the playoffs do roll around and Joel Embiid has whatever is nagging him this time, which is every year, legitimate or not, it happens every year. The thing that we talked about yesterday was we're getting rid of the soft label with Joel Embiid. I'm tired of hearing that, because if a guy plays the way he plays last year in the playoffs and guts it out to play and gives your team at least a chance to win the series, yeah, that's worth acknowledging. If you want to call him glass, that's accurate. Calling him soft, not so accurate. Seeing him play last year certainly changed my mind of that. But when it comes to overall this team, you do have to acknowledge that they're going to go wherever Joel Embiid takes them. That's what they're deciding. By adding around Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey, that's the decision. They're not moving on from Joel Embiid. They're not trading Joel Embiid where he still has something left in the tank and you can definitely get something back for him. No guarantees. Like, you're going to get picks. For me, I'd rather live and die by this as opposed to going out there, spending all that money for a player that just might get you right back to where you've been. That's my worry. So going after a guy like OG, a guy you know is going to bring you great defense, a guy you know is going to give you some offense as well, a guy that you know can go out there and ball out for you and be reliable, that to me is more appealing. And then being able to have money to go out and add guys around Maxey, Embiid, Anunoby, Kelly Oubre, guys like that. We talked about it earlier. Brandon Ingram is still intriguing to me. And he did not have nearly as good a year as Paul George had last year. He's younger, certainly. But that, to me, is more the direction I'd like the Sixers to go, as opposed to bringing in that big-name player. That's where I'm at on them. Eagles-wise, I am very much looking forward to players addressing the media today after OTAs are done. Next week, mandatory minicamp. Be there or be square, baby. James Bradbury? I don't know. I don't think so. Might be the last time we see him in an Eagles uniform. But today, players will address the media after OTAs. I look forward to hearing what these guys have to say. I got what I wanted 2 weeks ago about Jalen Carter talking about Vic Fangio, Darius Slay talking about Vic Fangio. Got what I wanted in Saquon Barkley, just talking about how amazed he is by what these guys bring to the table when he looks up in the huddle and he sees, Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. He sees guys like that. He's feeling pretty good about what this team has to offer in the upcoming season and very happy that he's going to be a part of it. All that was great. All that was exactly what I wanted to hear, and more or less is what I needed to hear. A lot of these guys, as you would assume, turning the page. That was last year. That now it's this year. And then you haven't even been in training camp yet. But I look forward to hearing even more of that next week when we talk about minicamp. But when players address the media today, I look forward to hearing just continued advancement in the new defensive philosophies, continue advancement in the relationships with these new coordinators, Vic Fangio and Kellen Moore. And I look forward to hearing just these guys continue to build on the relationship and what they know about the scheme. That's all I need. The reassurance. I'm not one that needs a lot of affirmation. I'm not. Maybe my wife was like your wife or your girlfriend, or maybe your significant other. I don't know. Where they read that book about like love languages. There's one of them is acts of service. I'm an acts of service guy, I've been told. Okay. Verbal affirmation is another one. I'm not normally that guy, but when it comes to the Eagles, I want to hear verbal affirmation that everything's just going hunky-dory. That's what I need to hear. I thought that it popped in my mind till just now, but that's the best way I can describe it. I don't know. I don't remember the name of the book, but because I don't read books good. Well, I know. Yeah, that's what I need from the Eagles today. It's verbal affirmation. Hey, how about some verbal affirmation when it comes to the Gametime app? Download the Gametime app to your phone. Use promo code Farzy and get $20 off your first purchase on the Gametime app. The Gametime app is fantastic. You want to go to the game? You want to go to the big event? You want to go to the concert, the comedy show, whatever the case may be? Download the Gametime app to your phone and have yourself a grand time. The Gametime app is absolutely 100% where it's at. Download the Gametime app to your phone. Use promo code Farzy. Get $20 off your first purchase. And you can view your seat before you buy it with a panoramic view. Enjoy that. You can also get the Gametime guarantee. Now, what does that mean? The Gametime guarantee means if you find tickets in the same section or row for less money elsewhere, Gametime will refund your account 110% of the difference. That's the Gametime guarantee. And one of my favorite things as well, the all-in pricing. So that when you go to check out, those $20 tickets are not all of a sudden somehow $28.90. Oh, it's a convenience fee. Seems wildly inconvenient. You know what I'm saying? So that's what you're looking at right now with the Gametime app. Download the Gametime app to your phone. Use promo code Farzy and get $20 off your first purchase on the Gametime app. How about MyBookie? MyBookie.ag. Download the MyBookie app to your phone. Use promo code Farzy and get up to $1,000 redeemable cash bonus at MyBookie. MyBookie.ag. You can bet on the world of basketball when it comes to the Western Conference Finals, when it comes to the NBA Finals, when it comes to the NHL, all of it. Baseball as well on MyBookie, mybookie.ag. And maybe if betting on the world of sports is anything you can expand. Maybe it is. Maybe you just want to bet on something different. You can bet on the world of politics. You can bet on the world of television. Who's going to end up with who? On the MyBookie app. Download the MyBookie app to your phone. Create an account. Use promo code Farzy. Get up to $1,000 redeemable cash bonus. How about Sky Motorcars? SkyMotorcars.com. Check out Brett's amazing inventory at SkyMotorcars.com. How about the great people at PHL Sports Nation, Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs. That's PHLSportsNation.com. Let's get into the chat check and see how you're doing. What's popping here? Jason A., what's going on, Jason? Morning, y'all. Mental health, what? For y'all, mental health, thank God the Phillies won. In all honesty, yes. When the Phillies look, the 3-game losing streak, obviously, it's a 3-game losing streak. We've been through worse. Losing 2 series in a row after not losing a series in about 2 months almost. Yeah, that seems like it's terrible. But I will say this: the Phillies are back into a mode right now that makes me go back to when they were ramping up to win their first division in like 13 years, about 13 years. I remember my buddy, he was going through a rough breakup. I remember being in college, he was going through a rough breakup, and he was telling me the whole thing. We had a real bro out moment, and he was just unloading. He was telling me everything, and he was like really sad about it, really heartbroken, really like this girl, And I try to be a good friend, right? So I just said, "Tough it up, Buttercup." No, I said, "Hey man, no worries, man. You'll get through it." Blah 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 blah. And, blah blah. She's not that great anyway, and she wasn't anyway. He goes. By the way, did the Phillies win? Just like that, like in the midst of all this heartbreak and like that angst of really wanting to go out with this girl again, and her being like, "Hit the bricks," in the midst of all, he's like, "Hey, did the Phillies win?" I was like, "Yeah, man, they won. They won. Pat Burrell hit a home run. I remember it was a night Pat Burrell hit a home run." And he goes, "Okay." Like that was what he needed. He needed one little ounce of optimism and happiness, and Pat Burrell and the Phillies provided it for him. And those are the little things. You could be through those little crappy times in your life, and the little Phillies win. Yes, things are going well for me. I don't need that, but what I still needed after a 3-game losing streak? A Phillies win. Yes, for my own mental health, so I could get through today, which is an off day for the Phillies. I could get through that without the worry of 4 in a row. Here we go. The team that really sticks out to me, I don't know why this is implanted in my brain, but the Mickey Tettleton, Cecil Fielder, Rob Deere Detroit Tigers. That's going way back. I remember in the early 90s, they started out like maybe it was 92, 93. They started out like gangbusters, and then they fell apart. And I remember, oh man, this team's unbeatable. Oh my goodness gracious. And they fell apart. And that is the team, for whatever reason, that haunts my memory about any time a Philadelphia team starts. Anytime a team starts out great, it could be the Phillies, it could be the Mets, whoever it is. I always say the Braves, they can always fall apart. And then when good things happen with the Philadelphia sports teams, I think, oh, that 90 Tigers team. Oh, goodness gracious. I know that's oddly specific. Daz, what's going on? Harper should have rushed the mound. Here's the other thing. I don't think Harper is 100% healthy. So, Daz, I had that same thought. He did go back with the trainer after the second inning. He had that play with Cristopher Sanchez, where Cristopher Sanchez spiked the ball. Who was it running the first base? Was it the third inning? Oh, no, it was the first inning. So Schwarber had the leadoff home run in the first inning. Harper had that violent swing in the top of the first inning. T-Mac was already questioning. Ruben Amaro Jr. was already questioning whether or not Harper was okay. He looked like he might have tweaked something. He strikes out. He goes back into the dugout, takes a swing at the bat rack, throws the helmet, the whole thing. So they're thinking he's pissed off. Then in the bottom of the first inning, Luciano grounds back to Sanchez. He's busted. Luciano is busting it down the first baseline. Sanchez throws it towards the runner. So he throws it to the home plate side of first base. Harper then has to almost lean into the base path where Luciano is running at the risk of a collision. People were saying he could have reached for it and got it, maybe, but his back might be bothering him, and he might have collided with Luciano. And if you're hurt, those two things don't go well. Reaching at first base and reaching into the base path where there could be a possible collision. So after the inning, during the inning, Harper looks like he might be stretching out a little bit. And then after the inning, Harper goes right up the tunnel with the trainer and got looked at. He stayed in the game. And then in the fourth inning, he's getting, baseballs thrown at his face. After the game, he said he wasn't mad about it. Okay. Said he didn't think it was done on purpose. Okay. But he said also getting hit in the face is not fun. Breaking news. He has been hit in the face, and I'm sure it wasn't fun. But yeah. So that was one instance there. with Harper in the fourth inning, why he didn't rush the mound. I don't think he's 100% healthy, and I don't think a scrum is going to help him any. And also, there's a history of being hit in San Francisco that I'm sure is still in the back of his mind. Did I say back of the front of his mind? Mr. International, great name. Hey, Farzy, thank you for the PH. What's going on? High domination. Hi. What's going on? Good morning to you, Mr. International. As far as no, I appreciate the PH. We're good with that. Sean Kilray, Pat Burrell pushing and shoving people in the chaos of Harper almost getting plunked. Pat Burrell, man, he was into it. He wanted to throw down. It's like, what does he think he is? The Irish pub again? You know what I'm saying? Nicky Three Buttons in your head. Triple short of the cycle, Farzy. I was waiting for them to get. When he came up, he got a double, he got a single, he got the home run, and he came up in the 7th and 8th innings. 5th inning, he got the home run. Oh, the 8th inning is where 7th inning, and then they had a bunch of base runners there in the 8th inning as well. He comes back up, makes the final out of the inning with the bases loaded and 2 outs. I was thinking in his final 2 at-bats, he grounded out to short in the 7th, and then he struck out in the 8th. I was like, if there's going to be a park, so we had 2 more opportunities to get that triple, and I was like, if there's going to be a park where you get that triple, Oracle is definitely a park to get that triple. Oh, I didn't see. J-Roll said the Phillies are going to win the World Series. I didn't say. Where did he say that? I love it. When J-Roll predicts things, they come true. You know what I'm saying? Love J-Roll saying that. Keep the confidence, baby. Dash, Schwarber doesn't start hitting until June. You know, let me look that up for you guys. Because now the stats are updated because ESPN does the projections. Oh, by the way, Lane Thomas, a 3 RBI day yesterday for the Nationals. That's good. That's good to see in the 7-2 win over the other team that played, the Braves. Where's Schwarber? Beepo, Bob. Talk amongst yourselves for a second. I'll give you a topic. Kyle Schwarber's actually jacked, not dad bod, like some people think. Allora. How about Kyle Schwarber hitting 246 on the season? That's pretty awesome, too. Oh, baby. What did I say earlier? We went from 29 to 31. He went to 31. Kyle Schwarber is now projected to hit 31 home runs after hitting his 11th home run of the season yesterday. He's also on pace for a 100 RBI season at 119 walks. All right. Him being more of a singles hitter this year is still pretty incredible. Sean Kilrain, 14 years for Marlins. Wow. That is 14 years. Holy Stromboli. Roy Halladay threw the second perfect game in Phillies history. Chills. Oh, man, I'll never forget that. I can't believe it's 14 years. But that was game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals. Flyers, Blackhawks. I remember flipping back and forth and being like, oh, okay, he's pitching well. 3rd inning, 4th inning, 5th inning. Perfect game. Off the top of my head, Cameron Maben was in center field. And there was no earned run in the game. 1-0 game. The 1 run was unearned, and the Phillies won. Phillies made the out at 3rd. And that sealed the deal. Hot damn. That couldn't have been Phillies. Castro? Oh, whatever. It'll come back to me. But yeah, that was incredible. And then I remember after the game, they get the shot of him in the locker room, and all he said was, I just got to say, Chooch is awesome. He gave credit to his catcher right away. Speed of which, not that I'm putting him in the same category, but with these Phillies being on some great runs here, and Garrett Stubbs being the catcher for Nola, Garrett Stubbs being the catcher for Cristopher Sanchez through 6 scoreless, it's pretty good. Crowley, K. Raleigh. What's going on, bud? Daz, wish Cassie would get his Reds uniform back. Oh, his Reds form back. Okay, yeah. Me too. I'll settle for even early Nick Castellanos last season. Sean Kilmer, it looks like a pattern for Topper. You commit 2 errors, example, Rojas and Bohm, your ass is benched. That's what it seems to me. Yeah, that's true. Rojas got the day off, yeah. Hey, good morning. What's going on? Daz, there's your Mason Miller. You've hit your quota for the day. Daz, I'd trade Walker over Turnbull. Well, so would I, but who wants Walker right now if he's getting shelled? The Mets did designate Jorge Lopez for, I think it was Bob Nightingale tweeted it out yesterday saying, this guy's talking like it's his last time as a Met. And then sure enough, after the game, he gets designated for assignment after the post-game interview. They made him address the media first as opposed to calling him in. Jorge Lopez, after getting ejected and throwing his mitt into the stands, says Mets suck. Worst team in MLB. He's speaking the truth. That's we're all on the same page there. We're all on the same page. Although the Nationals seem like they're, or excuse me, the Marlins seem like they're pretty terrible. Oh my goodness, buddy Christ, I was worried sick. How are you? Nice to see you. April finds Lopez funny. I find Lopez funny. Sean Kilrain. Great minds think alike. Bring on Mason Miller. I scream Trey Turner for a year straight. I'm hoping it works with Mason Miller. There you go. Will it into existence. Good morning. I would like McCall Bridges on the Sixers. Yep, a guy that should have been a Sixer this entire time. That would have been great. What was it? Oh man, what the Jimmy Butler thing? That had me going down a little bit of it had me a little bit in the feels. Because it had me go down memory lane a little bit with the Sixers. And I was thinking about when I felt really confident in the Sixers winning. And the last time I felt great about the Sixers winning now, I think it was Game 6 against the Hawks. And I think it was Joel Embiid that struggled in the first half. And no, it probably was Ben Simmons. And there was a play where Ben Simmons had his back to the basket and he lofted it. It was with the left hand. Lofted it like almost behind his back to an alley-ooping Joel Embiid. And that moment right there, after that, Sixers won. They forced the Game 7. They had to go back in Philly. They're going to win in Philly. And then that was the Ben Simmons, passing up with, defensive maven Danilo Gallinari breathing down his neck. I say that sarcastically. But that play right there, and as I was going down memory lane, that's the play that made me think, oh my God, the Sixers could do it. And that's the last time I felt great about the 76ers making it to an Eastern Conference final. They've played another Game 7 since then. I still didn't feel as good. They had me going down memory lane. McCall Bridges certainly makes me do it as well. Daz, 99 days till the Eagles kick off. Hell yeah. Big Rhythm. Hey, Farzy, if you're going to use my lines, at least thank you. It was Big Rhythm. Big Rhythm. Someone said yesterday, I didn't remember it was you. Big Rhythm. Great job by you. As the prophet, Big Rhythm said, Embiid is glass, but not soft. Thank you, Big Rhythm. I can't wait to hear the Eagles talk today. I can't wait either. That's how geeked up I am. When it's new coordinators and a good amount of new players, I want to hear it all. I hope Chauncey Gardner-Johnson talks today. I want to hear from CD Deuce. That's who I want to hear from. Phillies need another reliable bat in the outfield. Yeah, are we done with Whit Merrifield yet? I feel like the Phillies are going to give Whit Merrifield the month of June. And maybe not even all of June. He got a hit yesterday, a double off the wall. That was great. He worked a walk. Great. But Whit Merrifield is a bigger problem than Johan Rojas. Did not expect that. Wave, beach ball, Walker, not happening. Only reason the bench is cleared because the catcher got involved when the ump had it under control. Okay, maybe. Just say hide him, Farzy. Hi. Okay, hide him. Gotcha. Daz grounded the shortstop. Harper did, yeah. Just thought I'll take a home run over a triple, obviously, but the triple are impressive because you need a good bat and good speed. I'm with you. Johnny G, doctor. It was great to see Nick hitting well again. What's great about the team, when the big bats don't hit well, the others step up. How about this yesterday? And Johnny G, thank you for reminding me of this. How about this yesterday with the Phillies? Everyone got a hit except for Edmundo Sosa. Edmundo Sosa goes up there and he goes 0 for 5. Rob Thompson, speaking about giving guys vote of confidence, he gives JT Realmuto the day off, moves Edmundo Sosa to the 2 spot. He goes 0 for 5. Everybody else hits except for Edmundo Sosa. He can have a day off. Well, talent-wise, a day off. He's afforded the right. Sean Kilrain. Oh, Pedro Feliz, who sealed the deal. Thank you. I always forget how long Pedro Feliz was here. Still want Butler over PG. Yeah, I'm scared of everything when it comes to the Sixers. Like, there's a part of me that's just so conditioned to, who cares? They're going to lose anyway. And like, if I'm being totally real with you, I'll hype myself up by the time the playoffs roll around again next year. But for me, it's just waiting for that disappointment. And it sucks because that's how I've been conditioned. And the Celtics are going to win the championship. Speaking about being in my feels, the Celtics winning a championship. First off, the Celtics just spanking the Sixers and not going through a process and fleecing Brian Colangelo in the process of the process. That just hurts the heart, man. It hurts the heart. Tatum, Bridges, Butler, 3 players that haunt this fan base because they could all be here right now. Yeah. Farzy, do you think the Phillies think they need any more pieces? Yes. I think the Phillies are looking at Whit Merrifield right now and going, what the hell, bro? You were supposed to be, Greg Dobbs, like a better Greg Dobbs, a less powerful Matt. You were supposed to be that clutch bat off the bench. You're supposed to be that clutch guy. Other than playing decent in the field when he plays, when he actually plays defense, he plays well. But he's a good pinch runner. But I think they're looking at Whit Merrifield and being like, we expected more from you, Whit. I think they look at Johan Rojas like, hey, dude, can you concentrate a little bit? I think the guy, other than Edmundo Sosa, who is the guy that is overachieving, is Christian Pache. I think he's the guy that's actually overachieving. See him get 2 hits yesterday. See him come up with that RBI, 2-out RBI single. That was great. Playing well in the field. I think he's one guy after Edmundo Sosa that's been overachieving as a bench guy, as a not everyday player. I also think they're looking at Nick Castellanos like, all right, this is good. All right, 3 hits today, and a hit the day before. Let's get it going there, Nick. Laurie Marketing. I'd love to see him here. Jason, I'd love to see Sixers pick him up. Ooh, Joe Webb. Now, this is the first time seeing this. Jay Wright for GM, not head coach, but GM. Get Morey out. So Jay Wright just brings in the Nova Knicks. I kid. Jason A. If you want backdoor video of how his rookie time is, Ananias Smith, his channel Sub-Zero Productions, he has a blog. It shows everything he's doing. I haven't watched it in the last 2 weeks. I checked it out around the draft, shortly after the draft. But yeah, it does look like it's really well put together. Maybe I should hire him here. Maybe if that football thing doesn't work out, maybe he can come work for the Farzy show. I don't know. Thanks everybody in the chat. You guys are wonderful as per usual. Let's get to the morning rush brought to you by Sky Motor Cars, SkyMotorCars.com. Phillies do have the off day today. They start a 3-game series with the Redbirds. St. Louis Cardinals come to town starting tomorrow on the 31st of May. So if you're thinking Kyle Schwarber's really going to heat up, you got to wait one more day, people. Phillies are at it tomorrow. Aaron Nola is going to be on the hill against, I always mess his name up, Miles Mikolas of the Redbirds. He comes into game 3-5 of the season with a 5.64 ERA. Aaron Nola looking to lower his ERA to below 3. He's at 3.04 on the season. He's 6-2, and he's coming off a start against the Colorado Rockies, where he went 6 innings, allowing 5 hits, 2 runs that were earned, 3 runs overall, and he's gone at least 6 innings in each of his last 3 starts. So that's what we're looking at, and he hasn't allowed more than 2 earned runs in each of his last 3 starts as well. That's what we're looking at from Aaron Nola going into the game tomorrow night. That game is going to be at 6:40. As I mentioned, it's going to be a 3-game series against the Cardinals, and then I think this homestand, that's not right. I think, does this homestand take you into the Mets series in London town? I believe it does. Phillies tomorrow night will also go for their 40th win of the season, so that's cool. 3 against St. Louis, 3 against Rhys Hoskins and the Milwaukee Brew Crew, and then they got a couple days off, 2 days off, as a matter of fact, where they go to London to take on the New York Mets for a 2-game series, June 8th and June 9th. 1:10 start time, and then 10 a.m. start time. Then they come back on the 11th, Tuesday the 11th, to take on to go to Fenway, and then to Baltimore, Maryland, for a 3-game series. They got a 3-game series in Boston against the Red Sox and a 3-game series at Camden Yards with the O's. O's are playing some good baseball right now. You see the O's celebration is it's not a beer tower. It looks like a beer bong, but it's not. It's got water in there. But yeah, that looks pretty fun. How about them O's, Helen? O's, Stros, and Natty Bows. The Baltimore accent is very close to Delco, if you're unfamiliar. So anyway, the Phillies are back at it tomorrow at 6:40 start time. Nola against Mikolas there of the St. Louis Cardinals. As for the NBA I am very much looking forward to this. NBA Finals NBA Western Conference Finals get back at it tonight, 8:30 start time. Mavericks at Timberwolves. See how that game plays out. The Timberwolves actually like tonight. They are 4.5-point favorites to win this game, are the Timberwolves. I say this series goes 6 games. Why? Because I want it to. That's what I got for it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. You guys are great as per usual. My name is Mark Farzetta. This is the Farzy Show presented by MyBookie. MyBookie.ag. Make sure you hit like and subscribe on the MyBookie, or excuse me, on the Farzy Show. Like and subscribe on the Farzy Show YouTube channel. Like and subscribe to Jacob Media's YouTube channel. And make sure you like and subscribe to the all-new Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. That's Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel, where yours truly gives you the Phillies postcast after each and every game on Locked On Sports Philadelphia. The response over the last 2 weeks has been phenomenal. Thank you guys for doing that. Brand new channel, so we're starting it up. Appreciate you guys doing it. I know Connor Thomas. You guys know Connor Thomas from 97.5 The Fanatic. He also does the Phillies podcast on there. Keith Pompey's on there doing the 76ers podcast for Locked On Sports Philadelphia. So make sure you guys check out all things Locked On Sports Philadelphia as well. My name is Mark Farzetta. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Be back with you guys tomorrow. Look forward to hearing what the Eagles have to say. We'll break it all down tomorrow. Take it easy, everyone. See you tomorrow. Bye.